Welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we pit two or more nerd icons against one another in a battle of strength, or wits, or tragically misunderstood backstories, and argue who would win. This week, Maleficent versus the Wicked Witch of the West. It's party time, and everyone's invited. Well, almost everyone. Jadis, the White Witch, has decided to throw a swag sorceress soiree for the entire black magic community to celebrate her recent conquest of the land of Narnia. No Christmas gifts necessary. It's going to be a splendid affair with plenty of Turkish delight and some truly captivating statuary. However, two of the multiverse's most notable spellcasters, Maleficent and the Wicked Witch of the West, have once again found themselves victims of their own, admittedly well-deserved reputations. Neither has received an invite. Well, screw that noise. Independent of one another, each witch decides to throw her own damn party. Maleficent sending out invites via her raven companion, and threatening to invoke death curses upon the children of the parents who don't attend, while the Wicked Witch takes to the skies herself, cackling madly as her broomstick's jet stream spells out the terrifying words, "Party over here, fuck you over there." Both parties are being held in the respective castles of their hostesses, but almost nothing else is known about the event. Needless to say, such mystique gets people talking, and soon enough, they are the most anticipated gatherings of the season. Black magicians from every story and medium in existence flock to both castles at the appointed evening and time. Only they probably won't make it there. Maleficent and the Wicked Witch have no intention of actually hosting social gatherings. Instead, as the quote-unquote guests who so rudely snubbed them at the Narnia affair attempt to make their way to the two sinister fortresses, Maleficent and the Wicked Witch plan to do everything in their power to stop anyone from attending their parties, or indeed, from making it out alive. Which witch will be able to successfully block the legions of hapless partygoers from actually arriving at her lair? I do not know. That is why I, Miles Schneiderman, will be your impartial judge this week. Arguing for Maleficent will be the team of Dan Mulkerin.
Ding dong, the witch is about to be dead.
And Tim Mulkerin.
Should I be offended that you invited the gay brother on for the podcast's first diva off?
Hey man, I presented you with a list. You picked this one.
Arguing for the Wicked Witch are Colin Mulkerin.
I'll get you, my pretty. And your little bird, too.
And Liz Logan.
Maleficent? More like Maleficant?
What?
I want to make it clear off the top that Team Maleficent will be using the character as she appears in the animated Disney film Sleeping Beauty, and not taking from the Angelina Jolie remake. Is that correct?
Except from where that source does not contradict the original animated movie.
Which is most of it.
Which is a lot of it, yes.
And Team Wicked Witch of the West will be taking primarily from the 1939 film version of the character, but will be sprinkling in some aspects of the character from the play version of Wicked. For the sake of having a competitive matchup, and because there are aspects of the Wicked play that directly contradict the film version, the most notable of which being, in the Wicked play, the Wicked Witch is not harmed by water, which is a pretty big deal. We are going to disqualify all water-based arguments from this competition straight off the top, so none of this I'm melting shit.
There are other ways to make her melt. It's fine.
It's an explanation, not a contradiction.
Fair enough. I can't wait for the sulfuric acid to come into play. In order to determine which team went first, I had something for this. Damn it, the Archer episode was last week. I just came up with something for this, and I just lost it. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I thought that was all. I thought that was
going to be it, yeah.
In order to determine which team went first, I dropped a house on a spinning wheel and ordered each team to search through the wreckage to try and find the needle in the proverbial haystack. Team Wicked Witch ended up coming up with it, and so they will be going first. Wicked Witch, opening arguments, take it away.
The Wicked Witch of the West, also known as Elphaba, has not just spent the majority of her life studying magic, she is magic. Being the daughter of an Earthling, the Wizard of Oz, and her native Ozian mother, she is referred to as the Child of Two Worlds, a being of unfathomable magic potential. And oh yeah, her first word was horrors. Much like Harry Potter or in X-Men, as a teenager, whenever Elphaba would get emotional, strange and unexplained magical things would start happening around her. However, unlike in Harry Potter or in the X-Men, this is implied to be something that has not really ever happened before with another being in the history of Oz, because after seeing a single display of this innate magical power, Madame Morrible, the headmistress of Crage Hall at Shiz University, decrees that she will take Elphaba under her wing and make her into a sorceress, something that Elphaba had no interest in before. Very soon after meeting her, she tells Elphaba that she suspects that a being with such amazing raw talent could have a shot at becoming the wizard's magic grand vizier, whatever that means. The Wicked Witch of the West is one of the few beings in Oz capable of reading the Grimoire, the most powerful magical tome in Oz, which she steals from the Wizard of Oz and has in her possession for decades after that. In the play, we see her use the powers of the tome to imbue her broomstick with the ability to fly, to transform normal monkeys into flying monkeys, to transform normal humans into tin men and scarecrows, and finally to transform normal slippers into super awesome powerful magic kick-ass slippers. But the events of the novel show that the Grimoire has far greater powers beyond that. It is the major MacGuffin of the latter half of the novel, and it is implied to contain within its pages all of the magical and scientific secrets of the universe. And it seems like anyone who could read and understand it would eventually become a god. And Elphaba can read it. You may laugh at the flying monkeys, they may look silly, but they are numerous, they kick ass, and in the 1939 film, we see the skies darken with dozens or possibly even hundreds of them. They combined the greatest strengths of all of Maleficent's minions. They have the strength of her goons and the ability to fly and intelligence of her raven, and she has hundreds of them. Not to mention that she has a crystal ball that she can use to track the movements of anyone approaching her castle, and if that's not enough, she can hop on a broom and fly around her castle. If there are guests approaching the castle, they will see, as they approach, a happy little field of flowers, which is very inviting.
Just a happy little field of flowers.
Yeah, which will be far more inviting than the thorns that will be surrounding Maleficent's palace, but no less deadly.
Poor Maleficent. Maleficent is motivated to be evil because she didn't receive a party invitation. You could probably send her a note saying you ordered her a pizza, and she'd turn into your best friend. And if you didn't even want to actually order her a pizza, and she got upset when reading the note and not getting any pizza, she might curse your firstborn. But hey, you'll be safe, and also super stupid for letting her touch your firstborn and not kicking her uninvited ass out. And then she'll order a pizza anyway, feel bad about how she treated you, and then want to share it with you. Maleficent's little minions are known as the goons, a word which means either A, a hired hoodlum or thug, or B, a stupid, foolish, or awkward person. The events of Sleeping Beauty show that both of these meanings of the word apply here. They spend 16 years trying to find Aurora and fail to do so because they spent all 16 years looking for a baby. And later in the film, when the good fairies are infiltrating Maleficent's castle, we see a single inattentive goon patrolling the entrance, and later we see multiple goons that are sleeping when they are supposed to be on guard duty. Maleficent says in regards to her own minions, "Oh, they're hopeless, a disgrace to the forces of evil." So, how are all these inept goons supposed to watch all the points of approach to her castle and keep people out? They couldn't even keep Prince Philip in. Maleficent is a horribly neglectful leader. The fact that her minions spend 16 years barking up the wrong tree reflects more poorly on her than it does on them. She offers her totally inept minions seemingly no training or oversight, instead just choosing to insult them and blast them with lightning whenever they displease her. Her shoddy ruined castle, with many obvious flaws in its defenses, shows how self-absorbed she is, how bad of a tactician she is, and how little she cares about managing her evil empire. So, although she is very powerful, she's going to have to do everything by herself because apart from a small bird with Lassie-level intelligence at best, she's totally on her own.
All right. Has Team Wicked Witch finished your opening arguments?
We have.
Yes.
Team Maleficent, your turn.
Your Honor, today you will hear the opposition talk about the Wicked Witch of the West. They will claim that she is clever, that she is powerful, and that she doesn't die when directly exposed to water. While the veracity of those statements is questionable at best, know that there was almost a full century wherein the witch was petty, weak, incompetent, and had a strong aversion to the beach. Writers over the years have had to bend over backwards to make the witch a capable character, but the truth is, at heart, she's still the same pathetic villain that was designed to be the opponent of a naive Kansas farm girl and her circle of singing doofuses. Maleficent is cut from a significantly stronger cloth. Maleficent is a fairy. Now, I don't mean fairies in the Tinkerbell sort, kind of cute and mischievous, but ultimately harmless. I mean fairy as in an ancient embodiment of a primal force, with an innate and overwhelmingly powerful connection to the fundament of the universe. She isn't a human who learned to cast spells from a book or a master. She was born with magic flowing through her veins, and the laws of physics bow to her every whim. Imagine Gandalf without the restrictions on his power and his behavior, and you're on the right track. Maleficent's magic is just plain powerful. She conjures devastating lightning bolts from her staff in Sleeping Beauty and can telekinetically pick up and violently throw around a group of about a dozen soldiers in her self-titled movie. She's also seen as being able to command plant life and put people to sleep indefinitely, even without an elaborate curse. She can transform herself and her environment. In Sleeping Beauty, she becomes a will-o-wisp, then an actual spinning wheel, and reshapes the royal castle around Aurora so the good fairies can't find her. She can teleport herself with perfect accuracy to locations in other kingdoms. In the movie Maleficent, she can also change animals into humans and vice versa. Oh yeah, and then there's the whole deal where she can turn into a gigantic dragon. That alone makes her way more threatening than the Wicked Witch. The point is that, in addition to being extremely flexible and versatile, Maleficent's magic is incredibly strong. Even three good fairies working together can barely manage to get an edge over her, and even then, she's able to beat them more often than not. Her magic also operates on a ridiculous scale. She covers a castle, the city around it, and the countryside around that in thick and deadly thorn-covered vines. In the book Maleficent's Revenge, she turns the population of an entire kingdom into stone. Her curses are so powerful that, and I know I'm going to sound like a little kid having a playground argument when I say this, they can last till the end of time and can't be undone by anyone. Again, I know how I sound, but all of this is established in the stories and the movies.
Which is why her curses always get undone, right?
They don't get undone. They just get weakened and changed by extremely powerful fairies that work together. Now, in her self-titled movie, Maleficent is also seen as a tremendously capable physical combatant, fearlessly diving into masses of armed and armored soldiers and sending them flying. Maleficent is also extremely hard to kill. The only way she was able to be defeated in Sleeping Beauty was for a destined warrior to be gifted with a magic sword and shield, and for the good fairies to further enhance the sword to basically become a guided missile. But not even that is good enough, because she's returned to life during an eclipse in Maleficent's Revenge, and continually comes back from the dead throughout the Kingdom Hearts series. And speaking of Kingdom Hearts, that game series always portrays her as the most powerful of all the Disney villains. She's even stronger than freaking Chernabog, the building-sized demon lord from Fantasia. The Wicked Witch definitely couldn't stand up to Chernabog. There's no way she even comes close to Maleficent.
If we're just comparing the relative strengths of Maleficent and the Wicked Witch of the West, all we really have to do is look at the Wicked Witch's weaknesses, and Maleficent wins by default, not even counting everything Dan brought up, because the Wicked Witch is just so damn stupid. After Dorothy, a meek farm girl from Kansas, accidentally kills the tyrannical Wicked Witch of the East, she then negates the magical powers of the Wicked Witch of the West, again, by accident. After the slippers appear on Dorothy's feet, Glinda exclaims that the Wicked Witch has no power here, referencing all of Munchkin Land, apparently. I don't really understand, but it's pretty ridiculous. The Wicked Witch somehow has no power over Munchkin Land or Dorothy and is forced to flee. A human farm girl who set foot in Oz for no more than 10 minutes managed to kill one of Oz's most powerful witches and outsmart another entirely through dumb luck. That doesn't bode well for the Wicked Witch in this competition of tactics and magical prowess. Let's talk now about the Wicked Witch's complicated and tragic relationship with fire. She uses fire as a weapon twice throughout The Wizard of Oz. The first time, she misses her target, and the second time, she dies. The first time, the Wicked Witch hurls a fireball at Scarecrow point blank from above and misses. She's no more than 10 feet away from him and is on top of a roof looking down at him. Despite this tactical advantage, she fails to kill a man made out of one of the most flammable substances in the world. And when she dies as the result of an unfortunate water-related accident, all of her supposedly loyal followers literally cheer. They're elated that they don't have to work for her anymore. At the first sign of danger, they're more likely to flee than to actually try to defend her. Let's rewind a bit and see what led the Wicked Witch to becoming a steaming green puddle, shall we? When the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man break Dorothy out of her prison in the witch's castle, they are soon cornered by the witch and at least 30 of her green-faced guards. You know, the ones that have a battle chant based on a chocolate sandwich cookie. Scarecrow manages to crush most of the guards under a large chandelier, allowing them to flee. The witch witnesses all of this, but rather than do anything to stop them herself, she just shrieks for her guards to chase after them. And this is where it gets hilarious. Want to know how Dorothy and her friends outsmart a group of trained guards and the most feared witch in all of Oz? They jog down a hall and run around the other side of a large pole, which makes the guards think they disappeared. If the Wicked Witch of the West doesn't have a basic grasp on object permanence, I don't think she's going to be able to prevent hordes of enemies from storming the castle. As soon as they hide behind a rock, she'll think she's won.
All right. Has Team Maleficent concluded their opening arguments?
I think so.
Well then, it's time to move on to rebuttals. We're going back to the Wicked Witch for this one, so Elphaba, Team Elphaba, take it away.
Okay, so you are correct, Tim, in saying that when she shoots her fireball at Scarecrow, she misses, and her guards do a bad job at catching them. They just kind of like slowly chase after them. And you are correct, because the events of Wicked show us that she is not trying to kill them, and she's not trying to kill the Scarecrow, because the Scarecrow is in fact Fiero, her love, and she's only making a show of trying to attack them when actually she wants him to survive. And because at the end she fakes her death.
I'm kind of regretting never having seen this play before.
Yeah, because basically Fiero was her love, and he's about to die. She casts a spell to turn him into a scarecrow so that she doesn't die, and she wants to fake her death, so she constructs this whole thing. If you notice, the guards are slowly chasing her, and like they split in half. Half of them are chasing her from one direction, half of them are chasing her from the other direction, and they herd her into this room. They have all of the exits closed off, and all that's in the room is a bucket of water. And then what does Elphaba do? Elphaba teleports into the room, something that she is also capable of doing. Or I don't know if she teleports now, but she does teleport. So
It's a light jog. It's not teleporting. Come on.
She does teleport at other points in it. I don't know if she does it now. She stands in this one spot and just like waves some fire at Dorothy. Dorothy was standing next to a bucket of water. So what does Dorothy do? She picks up the bucket and she throws it at her and she says, "Oh no, water, what do I do? I'm going to fall through this trapdoor and disappear." So all of the ineptitude that she seems to be putting forth is all an act. And the fact that she seems...
Your Honor, I believe the distinguished opposition is putting forth the "if at first you don't succeed, pretend as though you were never trying" argument.
It's called the character arc, Dan.
And also, the whole thing about Elphaba is that she's not actually this like horrible, cackling, evil villain in the way that Maleficent is. She is way more intelligent, and the Wicked Witch is a persona that she puts forth. She says in the novel, "That's why I call myself a witch now, the Wicked Witch of the West, if you want the full glory of it. As long as people are going to call you a lunatic anyway, why not get the benefit of it? It liberates you from convention." So, in a similar manner to Batman, she puts forth a persona of being one type of being to strike fear into the hearts of her enemies, when in fact she is a much more complex person than that. She is very intelligent and adaptable and nuanced, unlike Maleficent, who is likely to commit every single sin on the evil overlord list.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, those fronts that she puts up, none of that will help her in any way to defend her castle against invaders. Basically, what you're saying is, she's not evil, she's just misunderstood. Fine. How does that help her? How in any way does that give her an edge in this particular contest when she's up against a being who is powerful and evil and ruthless?
It helps her because she is less dumbly evil. The reason that Maleficent dies is because she doesn't properly secure Prince Philip. She underestimates him because she's a cackling evil overlord. She could have killed Philip at any time. She could have killed Aurora at any time. And the reason that she didn't is because she likes to toy with her enemies, because she's dumb and she's super vain.
That is absolutely incorrect. The reason that Maleficent dies is because she is working against destiny. She is working against the forces of the curse and the blessing that have been put upon Aurora, which says she will fall asleep and she will be awakened by her true love's first kiss. Prince Philip is her true love. There is nothing on earth that could stop Philip from getting there because that is destiny.
With true love's first kiss, the spell will break. But if her true love never gets to her, then the spell won't break, right? Isn't that how it works?
But see, that's the thing. He needs to get there. That's what destiny is. Maleficent even says so herself, that even if it takes him 100 years, he will get there and he will kiss her.
Can we say what good villain leaves a huge loophole for them to fail? Maleficent,
that she was unable
really
to close
dumb.
if she's so greatly magically powerful that she can't defeat these other fairies If she can't defeat a spell cast by Merryweather?
In that case, she was placing a curse that she intended to last for years because she wanted to draw out the agony of the kingdom. In this case, she is drawing a bunch of people to her castle that she intends to kill. There's no need for an elaborate curse. She's going to hit him with magic, and that's going to be that.
I'm pretty sure she's going to cast a bunch of really long, slow curses that are going to take years to kill all of these people rather than kill them. And it will give them plenty of time to find a counter curse or a way to get rid of this.
And to continue off of that, Maleficent is clearly driven by emotion. She'll probably say, okay, I have to prevent these people from coming in, but she'll be like, but it'll be better if they come in and I serve them dinner and I curse the food, and right when they eat the last course, they're going to have this huge curse go over them and it's going to take forever to manifest. She would totally do that. Her power even varies according to her emotion. Plus, she has no emotional connection to these random people trying to infiltrate her castle. What kind of power is she going to cast down when she doesn't even really give a shit about any of them?
She's out for revenge against these people, and she's going to blow them up in the most blatant way possible.
But
no,
it's
in
not
the
the
most
same
indirect
personal-
and slow way
Yeah,
possible, because
it's
that's how
not
all of her
personal.
curses work.
Like,
But
with
she's not going to use
Aurora.
curses. Did you not hear the list of controlling plant life and throwing lightning?
Well, if you
Dan,
want to talk about
let
the
them wrap up their rebuttal.
If you want to talk about the plant life, when she called up the Forest of Thorns, Mr. Prince Philip went ahead and chopped it all down and got through it no problem. I mean, and you talk about her dragon form. Philip is a mortal soul, and with a magic sword and a magic shield, he was able to take her down.
It doesn't even need to
Plus-
be magical weapons, though, as we see in the movie Maleficent, that she can just be harmed by ordinary iron.
Like, even being in the same room with someone wearing iron, she's like, "Ah!"
It makes this weird dubstep sound, and like it vibrates, and she has to like back away from it whenever she's like in the same room as iron. So like, heaven forbid she touch her own portcullis or any of her minions in iron armor.
Plus, you know, she has inept minions, whereas the Wicked Witch of the West has the most amazing flying monkeys that can lift people up. They can cover tons of ground. Whereas Maleficent, not only is she going to be like, oh, well, these people, okay, and then she won't be able to have eyes all around. Wicked Witch has the crystal ball. She can see everything. She'll be in control of everything. Whereas Maleficent is going to be worried about being not accepted.
Compare Maleficent's castle, which, as we established, is totally falling apart and in horrible shape and has one guard patrolling the front, unlike the Wicked Witch's castle, which is in great shape, super clean, and really well defended by guards who are marching in like perfect regimented order, you know, dozens of them.
There will be order. Team Maleficent, rebuttals, go.
So, if you look at the scene that in Sleeping Beauty where Prince Philip escapes, the only reason that her defenses fail is because Prince Philip has 3 of the most powerful fairies in the whole world with him. So if you see, as he's trying to escape, the goblins have 3 defenses. First, they shoot a wall of arrows at him. The only reason he doesn't die is because, he has those 3 fairies and they turn those arrows into flowers. Next, there's a huge avalanche of rocks that comes down upon him. Once again, has fairies to save him. Third time, they try to pour acid on him. Yep, there we go again, those fairies saving him. But without those fairies in this scenario, Maleficent should have no problem keeping these people out of her castle.
Except she also literally says that's the first time she's fallen asleep. She literally fell asleep on the job when dealing with Prince Philip.
She also blows up her own bridge leading into her castle, which is another defense that she has that the Wicked Witch does not. In comparison, when someone wants to sneak into the Wicked Witch's castle, the 3 aforementioned singing doofuses watch the door for approximately 12 seconds and then sneak right past the highly regimented and trained guards very, very easily with nary an alarm raised.
They did it because they stole uniforms of the guards, unlike the fairies who just waltz right in the front door past the one guard she has posted there.
Yeah,
while she's sleeping.
But again, Maleficent's castle has a ton of traps and a ton of other defenses beyond just the guards. That is not something that we see in the witch's castle.
All of the defenses are operated by the guards, who she refers to as a disgrace to the forces of evil.
And you just said they're in the castle, so by the time they're in the castle, it doesn't really matter what kind
They're
of
still
trap
going to have
she
to
has
get across
inside.
they're still going to have to get across the bridge, which Maleficent has shown is willing and able to destroy. So let's talk for a second about the witch's enemies in The Wizard of Oz, the ones that she is defeated by. There is a literal, actual straw man, not the logical fallacy. who does basically nothing useful in the movie and spends every fight either on fire or with his innards strewn on the ground. There's the metal man with severe emotional problems who cries at the drop of a hat, turning himself into a statue until someone can get his oil can to him. And then there's the cowardly lion whose usual contribution to trouble is to scream hysterically and run away. So again, those are the ones that were able to infiltrate her castle. I'm going to guess that that is well below the average base level of people that are going to be trying to sneak into the Wicked Witch's castle today.
Also, her so-called super powerful monkeys that you guys are going on about do one thing in The Wizard of Oz, and that is pick up a 16-year-old farm girl and a puppy. That's all that they have to do. That's not really a high bar to get.
They also totally dismantle the scarecrow, and
the aforementioned literal straw man.
And they beat the tar out of all of
the aforementioned crying robot and cowardly lion.
Yeah, they blot out.
Wait, he's a robot now?
Win in the one fight that they take part in the movie. No one defeats them in the movie.
Once again, I point you towards Exhibit A, 3 singing doofuses. Not an impressive fight. Besides which, the flying monkeys are not her guards. The flying monkeys are the Oreo-chanting green-faced goons, the ones that very easily are bamboozled by the likes of aforementioned doofuses. You know, you guys are pulling a lot from Wicked. And in that book, she is not a true spellcaster. She has this weird probability-altering ability that she can't control. It only manifests when she's severely angered, and even then, it really only manifests when she's protecting her son. She can perform spells from the Grimoire, but does so without knowing what the spells are or what they can do. Now, casting spells is useful, but it's way more useful to be able to know what spells you're going to cast so that you can plan around them accordingly. That's what Maleficent can do. She can cast a ton of spells, but she knows exactly what they are.
But every time she goes to the Grimoire to pull out a spell, it does solve whatever problem she's trying to accomplish. So,
right, but she can't plan for what it's going to do. Maleficent can. You guys have pointed out that the witch, basically, in the one climactic fight, regardless of how you slice it, like regardless of whether you're looking at it from the point of view of the Wizard of Oz movie or Wicked, the play, the witch either dies or runs away. Like, that's what happens. So
she fakes her death because she doesn't want to be a supervillain anymore. She wants to go run away with her love.
Yeah, how is that going to be useful in this scenario?
Yeah,
but it's proving that your argument that she can be defeated by a little girl isn't true.
No, it's proving that when a little girl tries to fight her, she runs away.
She could have totally killed Dorothy. There is no doubt the version of her in Wicked could totally kill Dorothy.
Yeah. The judge recognizes your point, Colin. It's a legitimate one. What you're saying is that she's not running away. She's acting of her own free will and doing what she wants to do, not fleeing.
Much like Maleficent, who could have killed Aurora or Prince Philip much earlier, the Wicked Witch could have killed Dorothy much earlier.
But see, the difference here is that the version of the witch that you're putting forth is one that doesn't revel in death and destruction. Maleficent undeniably does. This is way more her wheelhouse than the witch, who is constantly afraid that someone will find out that she's not really as bad as she makes it out to be.
But she is equally feared throughout the land as Maleficent is in hers, showing that even though it's just, more of a front or a disguise for her, when she puts her mind to something, she's capable of throwing herself into it just as much as Maleficent is. Even better, because she can look at things more objectively and put herself outside of it and put herself in other people's shoes, and she's less likely to make the sorts of mistakes that Maleficent is, who's blinded by her own pride and hubris and supervillainy. I mean, Maleficent is literally and metaphorically a cartoon character compared to the more complex and intelligent Wicked Witch.
When you were pointing out Maleficent's only weakness, which is shown to be iron, anytime she has contact with it in the movie Maleficent, it burns her temporarily and she kind of just winces. And then as soon as the iron's removed from her skin, the burns heal instantly. And the only way to really make her vulnerable to that is to literally cover in a net of iron, which they do in the movie. And she's still able to cast the most powerful spell that she does throughout the entire movie through that entire curtain of iron. And she ends up making it out of it with no problem.
So I'm really excited to see when she blows up her own bridge to her castle and the portcullis falls on her and she gets burned by that iron.
Yeah. Or if someone, say, stabs her with a sword, which, would just kill her. So.
All right. All right.
Guys, unlike the witch who's, immune to swords, apparently. Okay, go ahead.
Dan, shut up. Because Liz's boom was appropriate. Because you know what it's time for. It's time for the lightning round.
Lightning round.
There you go. I never gets old. All right.
I'm pretty sure it's getting old, but okay.
Nope.
Not to me. Congratulations to both competitors. They have successfully managed to keep each and every single soul coming to their respective parties out of their castles, be it through walls of thorns or fields of poppies. So good job. Except for one. Whatever vagaries of space and time you want to use to explain this, you go right ahead. But one partygoer has managed to break through both defenses and confront both Maleficent and the Wicked Witch of the West. Only this one ain't here for no party. Her initials are MFM, which, if you haven't figured it out, stands for Minerva fucking McGonagall. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And what she's here for is to read these two powerful witches the riot act. They are sitting here, acting all petty, doing all this bullshit, when with all their power, they could be passing their skills and their magic on to the next generation. And guess what?
Man. Oh, man.
There happens to be an opening or two
Oh boy.
at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Is it the defense against the Dark Arts teacher?
Well, no, okay, here's the thing. Hogwarts is in a little bit of flux right now in this scenario, and Minerva brings the two of them on as staff and allows them to choose which subject they want to teach. Which of these characters would teach which subject, and which one would be better at passing on their knowledge and magical ability to the next generation? Because we started with Team Wicked Witch at the beginning, we start with Team Maleficent here. So, what subject?
I think it's pretty clear that Maleficent would go for the coveted defense against the dark arts position. My main reasoning for this is that throughout Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent literally channels the powers of hell and uses them to her advantage. So if I'm a young wizard heading into...
it's not that year anymore. You can't say that in Disney movies anymore.
Oh, sorry about that.
Stop it.
Down into HE double hockey sticks.
There you go.
If I'm a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed wizard, I think I'm going to want to learn from the witch who is able to command the powers of hell and teach me how to fight back against them. If I had the Wicked Witch of the West as my teacher, all she would really be able to do is teach me how to do some painfully slow skywriting on my broom, probably. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
I agree with what you said. I think that Maleficent would be a fantastic defense against the dark arts teacher, but that's not where she's setting her sights today. Maleficent is going straight for the position of headmaster, the recently vacated position after the death of the dearly departed Albus Dumbledore. Maleficent, first of all, can make immediate use of the birdcage, which is in the headmaster's office. Dumbledore kept a phoenix. Maleficent has her bird Diablo. It's all fine. Most of the teachers in Hogwarts will specialize in one subject or another. But the headmaster, it is shown, needs to be a master of all forms of magic. Maleficent is a master of curses. She is a master of invocation. She's a master of transmutation. And she basically can cover any subject possible. And therefore, that makes...
Are any of those opposites on the second ed D&D, like,
you brought it up
a
today.
magic scale?
Dan, you were listing off D&D schools of magic, so don't
Maybe.
even. There are Harry Potter schools of magic, and you were not using those.
I might have been tempting him a little bit.
Somebody had to do it.
So Maleficent looks at things in the long term. You know, she's a planner. She has evil plans that take years to come to fruition. And when she places her curse upon Aurora, she says that, you know, yes, the child will grow to be beautiful and she will grow to be loved by all who see her. And the reason she does that is because she wants it to hurt when Aurora finally dies. You know, that's the way that she rolls. She's not just about the death. She's also about the pain that it brings. And so she will use her vast magical knowledge to make Hogwarts into the best magical school possible. The students will exceed all other magical schools in the world. And then, right when they have exceeded, then she will reveal that she has secretly been training all of them as deadly warlocks. And with her new army of young, prepubescent wizards at her beck and call, she will use that to conquer the rest of the wizarding world, whilst Elphaba is relegated to Quidditch teacher, being that she's awfully good on a broomstick.
Okay. Team Wicked Witch, lightning round, go.
Okay, I just want a real quick answer to what they just said. I actually think that if Maleficent's put in charge of Hogwarts, we will see that it falls to ruin, and that the students are just going to be wandering around doing whatever they care about, and she's just going to be carrying out petty curses and grudges against all of her fellow teachers and not really trying to get ahead.
Not to mention, it'll probably become a direct pipeline to becoming Death Eaters.
Yeah.
Are you saying she's like not gonna get invited to Slughorn's party and just gonna fucking kill him?
Yeah, pretty much. And actually, and we know what happens when secretly evil Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers or teachers in general get placed at Hogwarts. A small group of students figure out that they are evil and kill them. Whereas we see, given her time at Shiz University, that Elphaba is no stranger to college campuses, and it was a bit of like an apple polisher herself to her favorite teacher, Dr. Dillamont, when she was there, and is like totally suited for an academic life. I think that she would probably be the care of magical creatures, because she's shown to have a big affinity for animals in the play and the movie Wicked. She's an advocate for the rights of talking animals in both the play and in the book, and has a real affinity with all sorts of animal creatures. And she would probably also serve as a Quidditch coach for a extracurricular activity, teaching everyone to ride on a broomstick as awesomely as she can.
So I don't know why you guys are bashing Quidditch so much. That's some useful skills. Harry has used a broom to defeat or escape from many people. Oh, and he also used a broom to defeat a dragon. Checkmate, Maleficent. Axio broom, indeed.
Broom beats dragon.
if she was going to be a professor of a department, I think she would be in charge of charms. Just because of the various experience she has with magical equipment, whether it be her crystal ball, which kind of goes into divination, but she's got her crystal ball. She has the ruby red slippers that are magically imbued. She has the golden cap in some versions of the stories, which grant her power over minions.
And her broom, which she imbued with magic.
Exactly, and her broom, which she imbued with magic. So I think charms and the Quidditch coach, amazing combination.
That broom also really useful for fleeing campus, so you can spend time with your straw man boyfriend, right?
Hey, every great person has got to flee from stuff sometimes.
I'm
You remember
sure
that dragon chase sequence? It took forever.
Yeah,
but it was
if she's living at Hogwarts, I think that there's such like an accepting community. Her straw man boyfriend could probably be living with her out in the open. I think actually after she faked her death and fled from Dorothy, she probably went and got a job teaching at Hogwarts, and that didn't settle down, and that's probably a good life for her.
Well, you know what, guys? Another tough one. It's a credit to the co-host on this podcast that every time we do this, it's pretty damn difficult to choose a winner. But somebody has to win, and somebody has to go down in flaming broomstick flames. Green fire, orange fire, whatever kind of fire you want it to be. So I am going to take a few minutes and retire and kind of think about all of this. So talk amongst yourselves. I will return momentarily.
So this is the second time that the lightning round has taken us to school afterwards.
Yeah. I think we just took you to school.
Well, school was taken to by someone.
If you weren't going to say it, Colin, I was going to.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I figured out it was sitting there. Somebody had to jump on it. So.
Thanks for joining us this week, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
I feel a little out of my element, but I think it was fun.
You got to jump in and like be aggressive, and I think the new people we talked over a little bit the last time we had guest hosts too. But
yeah, I just don't want to there's only so much I can try to interject. I don't want to just yell over you guys. So
I will say, Tim, you definitely got the overly dismissive and sarcastic tone of the podcast down very nicely.
You did an awesome job with your stuff. It was very cutting and very well written, and I thought it was really good. So yeah.
So can I just say, by the way, that like rewatching The Wizard of Oz, that is like the most dramatically unsatisfying story, because it's like
it's terrible.
Like Dorothy and her friends succeed through no fault of their own. Like they run into this field of poppies, the Wicked Witch places a sleeping spell on them, and then Deus Ex Machina comes out of the sky and drops some snow on it. And then they're just like, oh, that was weird. All right, well, moving on.
By the way, one thing that occurred to me that if we did bring that up, I thought you were going to say until Maleficent sends the frost.
Oh yeah.
I thought was going to be your argument when we brought up the poppies.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
Anyway,
She always wins your nicest flowers.
Yes, I was considering bringing in a little bit more cheating. That we were gonna, since you can dimensionally hop between Oz and Earth, that's a thing that can happen in the Wizard of Oz. That Maleficent was gonna send some minions to Earth to mess with your stuff, but we just ran out of time. I didn't get to that. I was gonna bring it up that we.
I think you guys cheated plenty this episode. You guys cheated plenty.
We're gonna draw primarily from.
Yeah, it's mainly gonna be the movie. No, that's gonna be our core witch. We might sprinkle some stuff in.
No, we said we can use Wicked where it doesn't contradict the movie.
Oh boy,
yeah.
You guys.
It was in the email. It was in the email. Yeah. Primary source.
But anyway, preparing for this, I read the entirety of the Wicked novel, which I had not read before in the past week, and it's actually really good. It's basically, it reminds me of if you've ever seen the episode where Alan Moore's on The Simpsons and he's talking about when he had a stint on Radioactive Man. Do you recall what he says, Dan?
I do not.
Bart tells him he's like doing a comic book signing. Oh, I liked your run on Radioactive Man. And Alan Moore says, you like the fact that I turned him into an alcoholic jazz enthusiast who's not radioactive. And that's basically what Wicked, the novel, is to the Wizard of Oz. That Elphaba is a alcoholic jazz enthusiast who's not radioactive.
Yeah, she is neither wicked nor a witch.
Nor a witch, yes. And she basically doesn't have that many magical powers at all.
And she's actually from the Northeast. She's from New England.
Yeah. No, she is from the East. She's from Munchkinland.
She's from the East?
Oh no, yeah, she's from Munchkinland.
She's supposed to be from the West. That's in her name.
No, Fiyero is from Munchkinland, and she goes and seeks asylum at his castle. But her sister and her were both from Munchkinland. That's why her sister's from the East and she's from the West, because her boyfriend's from the West and she goes and seeks asylum at his castle.
Well,
and
there
then
you go.
Ends up taking over there as the despot ruler after he dies.
So really, you guys, your character this week wasn't the Wicked Witch of the West. Your character was of the West. That was who you guys brought to the table.
Not even of. She was of the East originally.
Our character East. She was of the West.
So our character is some lady of the East.
You brought of the.
Yes, of the. Yes.
I've never read this book or seen the play based on it, but it sounds batshit insane. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm not saying it's bad. I like batshit insane. Batshit insane is good, but the Scarecrow and the Witch being old lovers really threw me for a loop.
The play is super good. I've never read the novel, but we saw the Broadway musical 10 years ago, and it was really, really good.
All three Mulkerin brothers went.
Yes.
Aww.
All right. Well, I have returned. I have dropped a few houses on people who didn't invite me to things once.
Thought that was going in a totally different direction.
It was rewarding.
Is that what you call it? Dropping a house?
I was dropping oh, no.
Yeah.
All right. I could expand on that analogy, but we can just
no wonder.
Family-friendly podcast, Liz. Excellent arguments again on both sides. There were a few things that I found a little bit odd or interesting. Colin and Liz, man, that was a pretty hefty sprinkle of Wicked in there with your Wizard of Oz movie, and I like it. I learned a lot about the Wicked Witch of the West that I didn't know before. I'm not sure how much it helped you, just because I really do think Maleficent had the edge in ruthlessness in terms of where this conflict was going. But I do think that it definitely afforded you access to more dramatic powers, which was definitely a factor in keeping you guys in the game. One thing I was surprised by, and a little bit disappointed by, to be honest, was, guys, no mention of the jitterbug? None?
What?
Come on. You don't know what the jitterbug is?
No.
I guess
man.
not.
Oh, man. It's so there's a deleted scene from Wizard of Oz. Do you remember the scene in Wizard of Oz where the Wicked Witch is talking to her monkeys and she's like, go do this, that, and the other to Dorothy and her friends. And then she says, and send those little insects to take the fight out of them.
Oh.
And then nothing fucking happens. There are no insects. It's because there was a deleted scene where the jitterbug was one of the
I
Wicked
remember
Witch's
that.
weapons.
Yeah, I actually read the book a long time ago, and I remember the jitterbugs. Yes.
Yeah, and they like make them all dance uncontrollably. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was kind of looking forward to that, but you didn't bring it up. That's fine.
I mean,
It's a deleted scene from our argument. Put it that
It would,
way.
yes,
Fair
it
enough.
would make for a better party if that's what she's trying to host.
I do think that you guys have proven that the Wicked Witch of the West is a more complex, interesting, and three-dimensional character. However, in this fight, I am going to have to give it to Maleficent.
Yes.
I think that Maleficent would be much more effective in, maybe not much more, but more effective in terms of, destroying a bridge and being all ruthless and, the Wall of Thorns and the dragon. I don't know. I think she's bringing a little bit more to the table in terms of sheer magical ability than the witches, based on what I heard tonight. So, well done, everyone.
What
Thanks
a world!
so much.
What a world!
Whoa.
The water of my own tears is melting me.
Oil can.
Oh, hello everyone. I didn't see you there. Okay.
Reports of Kit's toes curling up underneath her legs have been vastly overrated.
Big thank you to today's Paladin again for tweeting about us. Said some nice things about our Blizzard showdown. And big thank you to Gameable Pixar. They were especially interested in this one show here, so
Understandably so.
I hope they like, yes.
And thanks to Tim again for joining us.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tim, and congratulations on your victory in your debut.
Thank you very much.
The first of many, hopefully.
Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
if you never come on again, 100% winning streak. So,
Just retire undefeated.
I'm tempted to just quit while I'm ahead.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the Smash Fiction Podcast. Next week, our special Halloween episode, Ghostbusters versus Silent Hill.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulkerin.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his works at www.incompetech.com.
you can follow Smash Fiction on Facebook at facebook.com/smashfictionpodcast and on Twitter at smashficpodcast.
Find us on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight. Can we just say that you're working with the movie version and the Wicked version?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the
Is that-
book Wicked is so different from the play. They're really, really different.
And Colin chose the play for a very specific reason.
Yeah, because she's
A
more powerful.
very specific. Well, and she's also not vulnerable to water in the play.
Yes.
Let's save
Oh,
it. Hold
what?
on. Care.
Yeah. See, this was something that I was wanting to bring up with you, Miles, is to see what your reaction of that would be.
I feel like that's iconic to the character.
It is, but they talk about in the play
yeah.
why it happens that way and what actually happens with the bucket of water.
There's an explanation.
Is she vulnerable to water in the book Wicked?
Yes, but she's not in the play because in the play she fakes her death.
There's reasoning for it, Miles.
The version in the novel doesn't really even have magic. Like, she has like a tiny bit, but she's like not very good at it, and she like learns it way late in life, and it's like really not reliable, and she's killed by water. She's basically like worse than she is, and I didn't want to use that version because one, it's weaker for us, and so that is slightly selfish, but I also just don't think it's going to be as interesting of a matchup if we do the novel version.
My understanding after our last email exchange was we were just doing movie versions of both.
We were, but we said we could also pull in stuff from the other ones when it doesn't contradict, and I don't
Yeah.
think this contradicts.
Because she faked her death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she goes through a trap door when she gets hit by the bucket of water. She sets it all up to happen. That's what happens.
Alternate viewpoint to that being that in the movie she, canonically in the movie she dies and she is dead in the movie, but
What is she, fucking Hugh Jackman in The Prestige? What's going on here?
Hugh Jackman in The Prestige, also killed by water.